in a dark corner in high school when Zit-faced Larry walked by and was like, hey, that white head looks like it's ready to pop. Come here. Is that where the inspiration came from? You know, is she just love things that's floating in her face? Because I don't. When I go to a birthday party and somebody pops a balloon, I'm scared out of my mind. She must have loved that shit. She must have been like, oh, hey. Love it. I absolutely love it. I'm going to be a pimple popper when I go. Listen, you know, maybe I missed my calling. Let me watch the show. Let me see what's going on. So this guy named Jebediah comes in with a huge pimple on his back that looks like he has a head growing out of his back. A head. And you know how they always do the interview process first, right? So Jebediah sits down and he says, well, yes, Dr. Pimple Popper, I just got married. And then they cut to his beautiful wife, Belle. You just got married? Whatever happened to, if you see something, say something. Are you hiding that underneath your Sunday best as you're walking down the aisle to say I do? Oh my God, Dr. Pimple Popper, disgusting bitch. No wonder she had to rise up to be a reality star TV doctor. She needs the money to hire a wait staff to serve her food and a private chef to cook for her. Can you imagine going into her house and she's preparing you lunch and she hands you a tuna fish sandwich and says, here you go, I made you a tuna fish sandwich with extra mayo. That, and I'm fat, and I ain't eating that. All right, are we ready for our first one? Please, welcome the very beautiful, the very funny, the very barefoot, and hopefully very drunk, Amiee Erickson.
That's me. Not only am I barefoot, I'm not wearing underwear. Woo! Thank you so much, Kristen. Hello, Queens. Also, I love Dr. Pimple Popper. Everyone give it up for Dr. Pimple Popper. Thank you, Mo. I have actually been thinking about getting a nose ring because my Botox wore off, and I feel like that's a pretty close second. And the reason is because I had a nose ring when I was 18 and it got infected. So I went to take the nose ring out. Turns out it wasn't an infection, it was a giant zit. Oh. And I went to pop the zit, and the shit that came out of my nose was like a never-ending handkerchief from a clown sleeve. I was like, oh my God, this is never ending. And it did end, and I lost about 6 pounds. It was great. But gained it all back in my nose. So I kind of want to get a nose ring just to like see if that'll happen again, because that's fun. It's cool. It's really cool. No, what's up, quarantine people? I know, right? It's cool shit. Cool shit. So I went for a run, and I've noticed, I think people are getting a little bit on edge here from quarantine. I had 2 people yell at me and a person honk at me on his bike. And I was like, sir, where did you get that? That is cool. I kind of want a horn for my bike. If I had had a horn for a bike, I would have gotten a bike. That's for sure. It's been a very big year, you guys, well, I should say a very big quarantine. I am quarantining with my husband, and I don't recall that being in the marriage brochure. I'm going to look into it. Call your local congressperson. That's not fair. But we collectively have discovered 2 types of drunk sex. And the first type of drunk sex is the kind of drunk sex you've had a couple of beverages and you're feeling really loose. You're feeling very passionate. You're feeling a little bit like Kevin Bacon in Footloose on a car, just like feeling your body, ready to show the town your moves, you know? And then there's the other type of drunk sex. Now, this is the type of drunk sex where you're sloppy. You're a little bit like Kevin Bacon now, just kind of accepting whatever you can get at this point. And this is the kind of drunk sex where, oh, well, I ended up planking naked on top of my husband eating a sandwich. And I've got to tell you, eating a sandwich on top of someone naked, now be sure that I didn't say eating it off of someone. I said eating it on top of someone. If you have never eaten a sandwich on top of your lover, you now have plans for the rest of the night, and you're very welcome. You're very welcome. I need you to grow up and enjoy those cold cuts and some human flesh. And I understand that makes me sound a little bit like a cannibal, but that's only because I've been in quarantine with my husband now for about 3 months, and I invite you all to just acknowledge the people you're around. Think about if this gets a little bit worse, and suddenly we can't go out for groceries. We're all gonna die. I ask you, how long would it take you before you decide to eat your husband? No, just think about it. Just think about it. Let that one marinate. I know. It's been a busy quarantine, though, indeed. I was laying awake the other night in my bed. I just so much enjoy the math I decide to do when I'm laying in bed. I'm not a math person. But the other night I was laying there and I was like, oh my God, it has been 25 years since I started masturbating, and I am still horrible at it. I feel like we should be in better practice here masturbating. And honestly, in quarantine, like I don't have any opportunities by myself. So I ask you, like, what do we do in these conditions? The best I can hope for is a wet dream. That's it. That's all I can hope for. And for that matter, you know, women, like, we can be a little bit more subtle about it, but like, what if I wake him up? You know, like, he's gonna be like, oh, you riding a gerbil there in your sleep? Like, what's going on there? The answer is yes. My dreams are always about gerbils. You guys, I know. I've got a list of things I'd like to share with you that I've been doing during quarantine. Today, I thought it was, I decided to wash my hair and my dishes with the same soap. And then I Googled it and I found, I was right. It's not a good idea. I shouldn't do that. Don't do that. It's a bad idea. I also Googled today, you guys, this is actually true. I was like, are they still printing the phone book? Inconclusive. I don't know. That's not entirely clear if that's happening. I'm going to say something very unpopular because I'm in a position where no one's going to throw something at me. And I think this is a unique position that we should all embrace.
Yes.
But thank you. Yes, thank you. But I found this on the internet and my friend also sent it to me. And I would just want to lead with the fact that I have the utmost respect for mothers in this situation, but oh my God, what a time to not have children. Sorry. Because like my dog is amazing and just stares at me and is like, can we snuggle forever? And then we nap all day, and I'm certain kids are the complete opposite, total opposites. I have to say, before I let you all go, I want to just share a couple more of my accomplishments in 2020 before it turned to total shit. Couple of things I did. Number one, I switched from Android to iPhone. It was a big year for me. Thank you all. Right there. And I did this, and I got to tell you, it felt a little bit like when I got my period. I was on my first period. I was like, oh my God, is this what everyone's been talking about? I like had to learn a new walk. I think I have better posture now. I'm really pumped about that. Feel pretty good about my posture. And I have a new walk. It's a very big year. The other thing I did this year, which is I think very exciting, is I started using the menstrual cup. Has anyone using the menstrual cup here? For those of you who don't know what it is, I see a couple of confused faces. It's just a silicone Dixie cup that you fold and you shove it up your vaginal canal, and then it suctions and it catches your period. Because women, we certainly have not had enough things to put in our vagina. Let's add a Dixie cup. Why not? We were like, as long as it's not as bad as the dick. I have to say, I've pulled it out a couple of times, and you really do have to pull until you learn the trick, which is to pull and pinch. But before you know that, you have to kind of pull with the force of like 1,000 suns. Not fun if you're drunk, by the way. Funny thing about cups, there's no top on them. But I'll tell you this, I pulled it out, and this is when I really started to question my feelings for God. He's a jerk, because he chose to make women, and we extricate liquid every month, and he was like, I'll make it blood. And I was like, but why not Pinot Grigio? Like, why not that? Because if I were just extricating Pinot Grigio from my body every single month, that would be the best wine from a box ever. Thank you guys so much. My name is Amiee. My Corn Queens.
Thank you so much. That was Amiee Erickson. That was great, right? You know?
Yeah.
Woo-hoo! It got me thinking what she said about, all these things that, women put up in their vagina. The other day, somebody had said something to me about their daughter, and I don't want to get into it, and then I thought to myself, and I immediately called my mother, and I said, Mom, you did not raise me right, okay? You did not raise me right. You did not teach me not to put things up there. You never said, don't put any carrots or hot dogs or pens or pencils or lollipops or Ken doll heads up your vagina. Don't do that. She never said that. So I decided I'm going to write a book for all the daughters out there whose mothers never taught them. It's called 101 Things Not to Put in Your Vagina. And if I ever have a daughter, the #1 thing will be a dick. With that said, there's so many amazing things that women can accomplish. Yeah. Bring up our next comic. I love her. I have no choice but to love her, because her last name is literally the translation of love. Please welcome to her living room, wherever she's doing her set from, Cara, Amore.
Woo! Oh my God, thank you so much. Oh, if only I had gotten that advice, do not put a dick inside of me. That was such good advice. Oh my God.
Oh shit.
Such an amazing, oh my God, I'm having such a good time. Of course, we are the queens of quarantine, and let me just tell you what my quarantine has been like. It has been kind of fucked up. Because my boyfriend decided to break up with me during the pandemic. Who the fuck does that?
Asshole.
I have been in quite a state. I haven't been able to eat. I can't sleep. I've been dragging my ass around the house. My husband really wants to know what's wrong. I mean, I don't think he should be that upset, because he's the one who suggested date night. How was I to know he wanted us to date each other? Let's start with the suggestions. Now the two of us are stuck with each other during this fucking quarantine. Oh, it's been quite the thing. And during the quarantine, I decided to quit smoking. I really didn't think it was going to go that good, because I quit with the nicotine patch. And let me just tell you, I thought it was going to be a nightmare, but the nicotine patch has unbelievable side effects that I didn't know about. And one of them is graphically erotic dreams. So I'm really liking the nicotine patch, because now I'm having sex with everyone. Old boyfriends, my best friend, Mrs. McAllister, my son's lunch lady.
Oh shit.
I'm like, holy shit, Mrs. McAllister. I love that hairnet. And those tater tots. They're making my nipples hard. They're making me squishy in my girly parts. I think they should call this thing the snatch patch. Don't even get me started on the sloppy joes. I mean, it was Wednesday. My husband's asking me to put like extra patches on because it's making me so horny, you know. I look like one of those patch quilts, you know. Get the fuck away from me. Yeah. It's nuts, absolutely nuts, you know. And I suffer with really bad migraines, you know, and the doctor gave me this really insane migraine medication, and he didn't tell me that it would have really bad side effects. One, it's making me really depressed, but it's also making me super fucking horny. Those are really weird side effects. Don't you think he might have wanted to, like, you know, explain those to me, you know, like on the side of the bottle, like fucking horny and depressed? So now I'm too sad and tired to screw, you know? So my husband's like, do you want to have sex? I'm like, yeah, I have a headache. I need to get rid of it. I have to have sex. So the other night, my husband and I were in bed, and I'm like, he's like, am I hurting you? I'm like, are you in? I don't know about you other married people, but I look at like fucking my husband like paying the mortgage. Once a month, simply because I have to. The only problem is if he looks at it like, you know, like paying the mortgage. So if I don't pay up like halfway through the month, he wants to instill late fees, like foreplay. I'm like, oh, no foreplay. I'm like, can't you just point me towards the TV and fuck me from behind? I'm like, then we both win. I get to watch Home Shopping Network. You get laid. It's a win-win situation for everybody, you know? I'm like, oh my God, look, they have the new jewelry collection up. Oh, wow, look, they have Swarovski crystals. Don't you dare fucking check out till I do. Like, he always tries to check out early, you know? Like, and then sometimes they get really nice jewelry, you know, look at these Swarovski crystals, you know? And then sometimes it just comes on my face. Oh my God, yeah. My girlfriends are like, wow, this migraine medication, it's really making you depressed. You need to find your happy place. I'm like, I know where my happy place is. It's in a box under my bed. My husband found it and he's like, oh my God, Cara, it looks like you don't even need me anymore. I'm like, I need you, sweetie. I need you to go to the store and get me batteries. It's gotten so bad I started to take the batteries out of my kids' toys during this quarantine. My son's like, my lightsaber doesn't work anymore. Like, that's too bad, honey, because mommy's works just fine. May the force be with you. Sometimes I just ride his vibrating toys around the house. Or I use this Tickle Me Elmo. I'm like, tickle me, Elmo. My husband's like, why do you keep calling me Elmo? I'm like, I wish you'd fucking tickle me. Oh, God. So my name's Cara Amore. You know, it's kind of an exotic name. People always ask me if it's my porno name. I'm like, no. My porno name is Agnes Moorehead. So if any of you are looking for any of my work, that's what you should Google. I actually made a porno once with my husband, and it was really hot. Till I watched it. Put that fucking DVD in, and I see my own ass on a 62-inch widescreen TV in high def. 4K or 3D or whatever the fuck they're calling it now. I didn't even know what I was looking at. I was like, what the fuck is this? SeaWorld? Because it made everything look bigger. I didn't like that. My husband, on the other hand, he loved it. He's calling the neighbors over. He's like, check out my shit on this screen. Look how much bigger it is. Like, that's your fucking toe over there on the screen. That little speck over there, honey, that's your penis. Because guys are in love with their own anatomy.
Oh, God.
They ask you to look at it, right? They'll prance around the room asking us to look at it. They're like, oh my God, look how much bigger you made it. You would never do that, right, ladies? We don't ask them to fucking look at it. We're always like, don't look at it. Figure out a way to fucking eat it, but don't look at it. My guy tucked it all nice up there like a fucking fortune cookie. That shit is for eating, not for fucking looking. Oh my God.
Oh, my God.
Oh, shit. Yeah. I was a fat kid growing up. Anybody else? All right, some fat girls in the house. I love my fat girls. You see my old children? Yeah, that's the remnants of my fat girl. Oh, then I married a guy who can eat whatever he wants. Eats a peanut butter and jelly sandwich every night in bed, and I wake up a fucking pound heavier. I'm like, why can't you eat something that's going to help me lose weight? Like broccoli or carrots or me. Imagine that, ladies. Imagine if every time they went down on us, we lost weight. At least we'd know who all the whores are. Be like, listen, I got a wedding this weekend and my dress doesn't fit. On your fucking knees. Imagine if it worked the other way. Imagine if every time we blew them, we lost weight. I'd be a fucking Hoover. Doesn't work that way. Oh. So let the blonde hair fool you. I'm actually Italian. I mean, I'm really Italian. I put up with an extra kitchen in my basement. I think my mother put it there so she never have to feed her in-laws above ground. I grew up with a mean Italian grandmother who used to make backhanded compliments. Like, Cara, you look good, fat. But there's a skinny girl inside you screaming to get out. I know, Grandma, but I can usually quiet that bitch with some cookies. All right, I'm Cara Amore. Thank you so much. You guys have a great night. Thank you.
Yay, Cara.
Woo! Cara, unbelievable. Whoever is typing on their keyboard or scratching against their speaker, stop it, because I can hear everything.
I know.
Ever since I lost weight, I can actually see more of my face, and I actually realized that I actually have a Dumbo ear. It sticks out, and that Dumbo ear picks up on everything. And speaking of weight loss surgery, they always tell you, weight loss surgery, you're gonna look wonderful. You're gonna look beautiful. You're gonna look so healthy with your clothes on. When you take them off, when I take them off, or take my bra off, my titties look like two sandbags jumping off of a cliff. That's what it looks like. One time I was at a concert and I started waving my arm around, and all the loose skin actually knocked out the guy behind me. Yeah, that's another reason why I'm single. I can knock guys out with all the loose arm skin. If I wave too high, it would definitely knock someone out. Speaking of seeing your vagina, I haven't seen my vagina in probably 36 years. that sack of fat that hangs off of your stomach when you eat too much. You know, it's like they call it an apron. That covers it up. So I haven't seen my vagina in probably about almost close to 40 years. That's how long it's been. I'm really looking forward to getting it cut off. I'm gonna sell it. So if anyone wants to add some additional fat to their ass, let me know. The next person, we don't know if she has a fat ass or not, because we can't see her. We can't see anybody from the waist down. So who is cooking or like banging pots?
I know, please stop.
Yeah, stop that. Like, why would you do that? Anyway,
Yes. It's annoying.
I think someone's doing it on purpose. I think we should find out who they are and throw them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throw them off.
Yeah, throw them off. Someone's doing it on
Throw
purpose.
them off.
Yeah.
Get off.
I'm trying to find the culprit, I swear.
Yeah, I know. As soon as you
Gotta
find
get
them.
we gotta get a freaking heckler doing this too. Really?
Oh, I'm not
Get
worried-
in the
I'm not-
kitchen.
I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that. Somebody probably doesn't know anything.
Michelle over.
So let me bring up the next comic to the stage. She just started out in comedy, but she's very funny and she's very talented. Meltz.
Oh, that's me. I'm clapping for me. Thank you so much, Kristen.
Clapping for you, Mom.
I feel like I'm so new to comedy, I completely forgot to get myself a microphone. But I'm
need
here.
one.
What I do have is actually a Dr. Pimple Popper-like extraction kit. So I could use, I got curettes, I got these thingies, I got all kinds of stuff. Yes, that is how much of a fan of Dr. Pimple Popper I am. I am like your best friend. I absolutely adore the fact that my boyfriend is like, when we first started dating, he's like, oh, you know, my daughters used to take care of this kind of stuff on my back. And I'm like, and it was, just, that's it. I'm like, mine's keeping them. Well, thank you so much for being here. And as Kristen said, I am new to comedy and I'm absolutely delighted. But this is not my first time speaking on Zoom today. I am also in recovery, so I am being very active in trying to maintain my sobriety with all of this. Thank you.
Woohoo! Yay!
Thank you. I just celebrated 3 years and
Woohoo! Yay! Good job, Mom.
Awesome.
Thank
Awesome
you.
job.
Thank you. But with all of that, and on top of you know, having celebrated, I'm losing my train of thought here. Maybe I lied. I should get back those points. No, just kidding. I would never do that. I would never go back to being married to my ex-husband. This is not my first time speaking today. Earlier today, I had spoken at a recovery meeting. So on Zoom, so that's pretty much how all of my sobriety has been going, which I feel really bad for people who are trying to get sober now for the first time. Folks, I am watching what's going on social media. I don't know about when anybody else might have decided to get sober, if I'm the only sober person here, but when I had my breakdown and when I had my realization into like, oh my God, this is terrible, my breakdown came during Superstorm Sandy. After that, we didn't have drive-up cocktails. We didn't have the neighborhood wine mom fairies coming around and depositing bottles of wine at our door. We didn't have anything so convenient. How many delivery services do you have? You have your wine.com now. You have your liquor.com. The grocery stores are delivering to you. I had nothing. I had to sit there and suffer. I had to do it the old-fashioned way, clearing out the holiday stuff, the peppermint schnapps and the leftover holiday ales that were left in my fridge. Now, I see that liquor stores are considered an essential business for people to continue to go to, beer distributors as well. I can understand if you went to the beer distributor now and you're like, all right, I will take the variety pack of whatever the brewery is offering, the Sam Adams, the Blue Moon. I don't think we can name drop, but whatever. I'm just missing the good old days, I guess. You could go there and you could buy your variety pack of beer. That's fine. And, you know, we're in quarantine. Okay, I'm doing this to, you know, it's because people can drink like normal people. Not like me, but they can drink like normal people. But how do you excuse getting the keg? It's not like you could say, oh, I'm having a party. You're not. So I don't know how I would be able to handle this with beer distributors. However, I definitely had my map and my route of places I love to go. And there was a couple of local ones, but even at best, there was 6 of them. That's, you can't go to one more than once a week, or else it's flagging that you got a problem with this. So I also had my route of 7-Elevens that I would frequent, never going to the same one twice in one day. Man, I really had this down so well. And I'm keeping an eye on everything. Like, I'm walking my dog in the morning and I am looking in everybody's recycling bins, mostly for the fond memories of what a leftover bottle of Jaeger and maybe 3 or 4 empty Yinglings would have tasted like. In my case, it was always coming back up. But good times to think about. And I was up on all the tricks with this. I know what those lawn and leaf bags are really for on rubbish day. Mine were just full of all of my empties, because you can't really throw out everything that you're actually drinking for all your neighbors to see. Then they're going to know that you're an alcoholic. The other area that I got some awesome tips out of was rehab. I learned stuff I never knew about drinking in rehab. That was such a good idea. I've never done coke, but apparently you can drink a lot more on it. One of my favorite women that I interacted with was up, and she was speaking and addressing us one day, and she talked about how she had a map of the inside of her house, and she would mark off where she had hidden her stuff to keep it rotating. That would have been such a good idea. When I sold my house and moved out and I opened up my garage, like Hoarders, an episode of Hoarders left over from a bar. Made a lot of money though with the recycling thing that day. And I also did the tricks of like, let's go to a different supermarket to recycle my bottles. And then people would be standing there looking at me, and I'd be like, I own a bar. I own a bar that exclusively sells Bud Light. Hey, it worked, and I got like milk for free for my children, so I made it work. Well, sometimes I do miss rehab. I miss going to the rehabs now and speaking at them and seeing people. Like there are certain types that are just always there. You have the expert at rehab because this is their 13th time at it. You have the Suboxone girl who is like, I'm sober, even though I feel great. Yeah, because you're on a watered down version of opium. You know what I really can't wait for after all of this quarantine stuff has come to a halt and I get to start to go back into rehabs? Suboxone Karen to show up. She's going to feel great and want to speak to a manager at the rehab, not knowing why she's still being held there. I cannot wait for Suboxone Karen to get into an argument with medical marijuana Stephen with a V, because that is something I'm going to want to be a part of every single meeting. Like, I will take the coffee commitment at that meeting to make sure that I don't miss out on any of those exciting topics, which are a little taboo among my people and among the stuff going on. But you know what? We love all, we accept all, and I think that being a recovered alcoholic is one of the coolest things to ever happen to me, because I can wake up every day now during quarantine, not hungover, and not worry about where I'm going to get my next drink from, where the turpentine is, how much NyQuil do we have left. It's just a lot easier, and the world is a better place like this. So, everybody, thank you so much for having me, and have a great night.
Pop the cherry, pop your cherry.
Hey, bigger rounds of applause. We always clap a lot more for our first time. That's her very first ever.
Yeah.
So, but she's not a newbie to entertainment. She actually does a lot of improv and acting, and she's wonderful, and she's gorgeous. I love her red hair. Congratulations to you for having that sobriety and having that willpower, because I don't. I actually feel your pain, because I am not a drinker, but I have been drinking more, and I actually took my 15 vodka bottles out into a hidden plastic bag so my landlady couldn't see me, and threw them out in the dumpster at the laundromat because I was so embarrassed. I was like, there's no way I'm putting 15 bottles of vodka in the recycling bin outside my house. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I really hope that this next comic doesn't get embarrassed by me saying this. I really hope that she doesn't. But if you had told me when I was a little girl that my favorite character from the movie Annie, Pepper, would be that I could meet her, and then she would actually be on one of my comedy shows, I never would have believed it.
Let's go, Ro.
That's great. I absolutely love her. So please, you're in for a really funny treat, just like all the rest of these ladies. Please welcome Rosanne Sorrentino to the stage.
Woo!
Well, hello. How are you? Okay, a little bit about me. I am divorced. I was looking for a widow. Once again, he just couldn't make me happy. And I have 2 daughters. They're 22 and 24. And no matter what I do, I piss them off. Today I said hello. I mean, I could get up in the morning, say good morning, and fuck up a perfectly good day. Why just say it like that? What? You know, with angry mouth. It's not anger. It's just years of disappointment. And then they're always asking me, why do you drink so much wine? What's so great about wine? Why do you drink so much wine? I drink to forget. That you still live with me. Moved out during a pandemic, and I am now what is called an empty nester. And people are always asking me if I'm suffering from empty nest syndrome. I didn't even know that was a thing until I Googled it. It's a real syndrome. People who suffer from it can experience depression, anxiety, and alcoholism. I had that before they left. I'm cured. I mean, I spent 20 years, you know, and people are always like, but aren't you sad? Aren't you so sad? Are you kidding? Before they moved out, I suffered from empty wallet syndrome. Now I get up every day, click my heels, and count my money. I spent 20 years yelling at them to clean up their stuff. Now I go to their house and they're like, Mom, did you take off your shoes? I'm sorry. If I take off my shoes, I'm throwing them at somebody. I give up though. Speaking of giving up, I've given up on pants. I mean, I wear pants, but you know, leggings, they're stretchy. I was putting on jeans once a week when the quarantine started, but I had to stop. My self-esteem couldn't take it anymore. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's not easy getting old. You know you're old if you have to cross your legs to laugh, cough, and sneeze. And I'm in menopause. I wake up naked now more than I ever did in my 20s. Thanks to the night sweats. Oh, and men, please. Do you know I had 3 people tell me they wanted to fix me up with somebody? I'm like, now? During a pandemic? I mean, I wasn't really killing it on the dating scene before quarantine. But, you know, men don't want me. They want these young girls with their tight clothes and their crop tops. I can't keep up with that. The only thing I'm cropping these days are old wedding photos. I look good. Another thing I've been noticing while I've been home all the time is how I'm aging. Not well. Yeah, I get up every day and I look in the mirror and I scare the crap out of myself. I'm like, Grandma? I really thought, you know, I wished I could afford to age like Jane Fonda, but unfortunately my budget is only about Joe Exotic. So I bought every beauty product there is on the market. I have so much stuff now, I have to start getting ready for bed at 3:00 in the afternoon. That's why I like the surgical masks. I wear the mask and my sunglasses, I could pass for 30. And they cover the double chin. But I can't wear them anymore, so I don't think I can ever leave the house. I just cannot smell my own breath, not for another second. No wonder I didn't have a date.
Oh.
If this is what my breath smells like, Who needs Ambien to sleep? I'll just put the mask on. I'll pass out from my own breath. I mean, I don't know how other people are doing it. I don't know, a lot of mints. I was chewing gum one day while I was wearing the mask. I forgot. A bubble. Bad move. Well, I would love to stick around, but I have to go tromp through the mud and visit my children. Thank you all for coming tonight.
Yay!
Yay.
Thank you so much, Rosanne. Thank you for that. Give her a round of applause. That was great.
Yeah, Rosanne.
Great. Wonderful. So, if anyone's wondering, speaking of recognizing someone, if you've been watching me this entire time, you may have recognized me, but you just don't know from where. And I'll tell you the story. The other day, I got a phone, well, actually, not the other day, a couple weeks ago. I hate when people start the other day. A couple weeks ago, I got a phone call from my old job, because my first job was at McDonald's. And they called me up and they said, Miss Tinsley, we'd like to offer you your job back. And I'm like, well, I'm almost 40, and I was working for you when I was 15. So I think I've risen up on the pay scale just a little, maybe a little bit less. But I don't want to come back. I just had weight loss surgery. I don't want to be back at McDonald's. Good, because we don't want you to actually work in the restaurant. We've come up with a new campaign because people don't care about the calorie count on the menu. So we want to start using pictures. And we're going to use your picture next to the supersize. This is what you'll look like if you eat certain meals. So I'm going to be the supersize model for McDonald's. So you're going to be seeing me all across the world pretty soon on every single McDonald's menu, or at least ordering from one. Another thing that sucks about being single during a pandemic is you might actually discover that your house is haunted. Did you know that? Now that you've been in there 24 hours, 7 days a week, maybe your grandmother wasn't crazy. Maybe the monsters underneath your bed that your kids would come screaming about, maybe they're actually real. And I discovered that. Came home one day, and there was a man in my house, and I could see right through him. I said, oh, he was kind of cute too. I'm single, so I said, why not? Let me go for it. The guys on Plenty of Fish suck. Let me just tell you, ever since I started dating a dead guy, I have been so happy and very wealthy. He's actually a gangster, and he used to rob banks. All I was going to do is, hey, honey, go possess that guy over there to rob the bank. I need some more money. I need to get my hair did. Go over there and do it. One thing I'll tell you about dating a dead guy, he starts to mouth off. I live on Long Island. I can always call Teresa Caputo and be like, bitch, nothing off. I want a new man. Cross his ass over. I don't have to worry about getting pregnant either, because that shit's dead. I don't have to worry about it. But the biggest thing about dating a dead guy is this. If I don't want to have to talk to him, I can just pretend as if I don't see him. You know, like a real man. Are you jealous? You want to date a dead guy? Hit me up. I started a dating service for the recently departed. I'll set up your profile for you. So, we have another comic. But actually, actually we have another comic coming up right now. She's not actually coming up because she's in my house.
What?
Isn't that awesome? She's in my house. Deal with it. She's here. She has special treatments. Please welcome to my bedroom, the very lovely, the very talented Olivia London.
How y'all doing out there, everybody?
Woo!
Quarantine got anybody else fucked up? I know it got me fucked up. And walking to a store without a mask, a condom on. Everybody walking around telling me, it's quarantine. Everyone's out there making money. Go find something to do. And then boom, it hit me. I can see these niggas I can save these niggas 15% in 2 minutes on their next blowjob. Come on. What's up? Telling you, man, it's hard. But I've never actually been affected by a pandemic the way I'm not even talking to the microphone. Look at that. I've never actually been affected by a pandemic in my entire life. You know, all jokes aside, 9/11 happened, not affected. You know, Hurricane Katrina happened, not affected. COVID-19 happens, I get affected by the coronavirus. I got a new sugar daddy. This guy sends me $1,200 from the White House. I love it. Kidding me. I was so opposed to this motherfucker. I'm ready to go sleep with him right now. Send me another $1,200. I'll take it. But in life, you always got to be careful what you wish for. Working at one of my recent jobs, I learned that in a good way, I just remember walking to my car one night. It was a dark, scary night, walking all the way to my car in the parking lot, and I get approached by 3 black girls. Now, I see a lot of white women out there. I don't know if you've been approached by 3 black girls in the parking lot before at 10 o'clock at night, but usually it's not to have tea and do your makeup and drink wine. But anyways, I get approached by 3 black girls, and one of them looks at me. She goes, "You're that new girl, right?" "Yeah, I might be. How can I help you?" "Well, what days do you have off?" "Friday, Saturday." "You've been working here all of a month and you get Friday and Saturday off?" Anyway, make a long story short, later on in the night, I go downstairs and I see there's a huge emergency happening. It's a Wednesday, of course. The girl who basically tried to fight me over my shift fell down the stairs, and now she's gonna have Friday and Saturday off because she's gonna be off the next 2 days. Telling you, man, like, you gotta be careful what you wish for. Recently in quarantine, I've been doing a lot of online hooking up. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a hoe. Like I said, I'll save you 15% or more on your next blowjob in 2 minutes. But I've been doing a lot of hookup, but I think the elephant in the room is there's a lot of guys out there who don't like to be catfished. Now, I'm a suspiciously large woman myself, so I can get away with it. But it's so funny seeing a guy go on, tell you what he's gonna do to you, tell you all this crazy stuff, and you guys end up hanging out, and he falls asleep right on your couch after a glass of wine with a bitch. But my most epic story about sucking dick, I'll tell you guys, it was in college before you go. I'm a big pot smoker. I smoke weed, I'm sorry. I'm high right now. I got my medical marijuana in the car. I smoke weed. But in college, I remember buying weed from these 3 guys in a dorm, and they sold me grass. So you can imagine how mad I was. So I'll go up to their dorm rooms. You know how homophobic guys are, especially when they're 18, 19 years old. And I'm banging on the door. They don't open it. So I start kicking in the door. They finally open the door, and I go, "I'm going to suck every single one of your dicks, starting with you, until you give me my goddamn weed." But all in all, poor guy, I got to tell you my favorite story, what actually got me into doing comedy. The first time that I've ever done comedy was on a phone call in a call center. I received a call from a 40-year-old man who was having trouble with his cable box. Now, I used to work at Cable Vision, which is one of the best companies in the world, if you don't live in New York, the Bronx, and New Jersey. But I received a call from this gentleman basically asking me to fix his cable box. By the end of the call, he loved me, he loved my voice. And right before I'm about to hang up the phone, he goes, "Ma'am," mind you, at the time, I'm sitting behind the phone in the call center, looking like a dude. I got a beard on and everything, but I'm like, "Hi, thank you so much for calling Optimum. This is Sharon speaking. How can I help?" He tried to hook me up with his 17-year-old son, y'all, and that was the day I went to jail for statutory rape. My name is Olivia London. I love you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Olivia. I can definitely attest to the fact that she's high because I caught a contact high. I'm stoned right now. another point. And the last point I'll give you is we've got 2 more comics to do. So I went on a date with this guy, and he was so shy that he forgot to ask me what I'd like to do for fun before we went on the date. And he actually ended up asking me what I like to do for fun while we're standing on the sidewalk in the middle of New York City. So I said, well, you're in luck, because I am a stand-up comic, so I am the fun. He was a millennial, because sometimes I got to go a little bit younger, and automatically he got triggered. What do you mean? You're a stand-up comic. Women aren't funny. If you're funny and I'm funny, what am I supposed to do to make you laugh? The dishes. How about you do the dishes? Another great comic coming up. She's also very new, but very sweet, and she's been running all the tech stuff for me. Thank you so much, Abby, for doing that. Hopefully she got some great stories about what it's like to live with a man during a pandemic, and she just moved in with her very adorable, and also another comedy producer, Don Brecco. Please, everyone, welcome, and hopefully I'll be able to figure this out. Hopefully I'll be able to do it. Hopefully. Can I do it?
I hope you can. You know you can.
I think I can. Please welcome to the stage my good friend, Abby Fennimore.
Woo! Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming and staying in tonight. It's perfect. I hope quarantine's been treating you so well. I know I personally got to wake up like a bridge troll every morning, and it's wonderful. But yes, like Kristen said, I just moved in with my boyfriend right before all this started. So I went from spending a few nights with him to every second with him. And that's it. I wish he would go to work. I mean, I can't even go to the bathroom alone. Every single time, all right, I get a parade of 2 cats and 1 guy walking in. Dude, last time I checked, I didn't have children. I just want to change my freaking tampon. But like I said, I've got to learn a lot about him during this time. For the fact, he's really good at taking out the trash. He got rid of his ex-fiance, so I should have known not to begin with. But his not so strong suit is dishes. He was so gung-ho first time I asked him to do his dishes that he whipped up, got up, was ready to go, and he started using paper towels. Used the whole freaking roll that's right next to the sponges. Needless to say, we use a dishwasher now, and everything's fine. But, like Kristen also said, he is a stand-up comedian with me. He's actually way more experienced than I am, and it's wonderful. But he asked me the other day, because we're talking about getting older, he asked me, will I still find him funny when he's 26? I said, well, that depends on what kind of healthcare you got. I gotta have my priorities straight. And you know, it's very fun living with him, and I realized that we also have had some horrible eating habits. I've always grown up as a thick girl, and I've decided I actually want to lose weight, but the eating habit wasn't the problem. It was when I told somebody who didn't know me, it was when I told them I work at a gym. Their jaw dropped to the floor. Now, this is true. I do work at the gym, but I lied to him and told him I was a personal trainer. But in reality, I'm actually a graphic designer. I really love what I do. And I get to avoid people all day, and that was the main goal. Yeah. Isolation, I'm thriving. My therapist
is going to have a hard time reintroducing me into society. But that's her problem. Another thing that also happened right before quarantine is we got a second cat. Now, I love this cat. He just has a head tilt. It's part of his special needs. And it's great and all, but when you stare at him, I get so self-conscious because he's constantly giving me a what the fuck face. Walking around, everything's a mystery to him. It's kind of intriguing. But with that being said, I will, however, leave you on this note. Kids, I'm glad I don't have kids right now because they'd probably be driving me nuts, but I do have a 3-year-old nephew. We were at the dinner table and he let out a belch. Now I said belch instead of burp because I'm sophisticated. But he belched, turned to me, and said, "All right, it's your turn." Are you challenging me? And then I can't burp on command, so he automatically thought he won. Later that night, I ate his candy right in front of him. Who is the winner now? All right, but thank you guys for coming tonight. This was so wonderful. I was very happy, and thank you, Kristen, for putting this together. It was amazing. I've had a really great time. Everybody did wonderful. So thank you.
You are welcome. I don't even know how to switch this thing back. I really don't. I'm trying to, it says add profile picture. I don't know.
No, you gotta go to yourself on the screen and hit make spotlight.
You have to really love millennials. You absolutely love them. I love talking to them because I actually feel smart when I talk to them because I'll be like, do you know what this is? Or do you know what that is? Or did you ever see this movie? Like, I feel like I don't have any children of my own. So I really feel like every single time I talk to one, I feel like I have my own child. It's just absolutely amazing. I'm really happy that Mother's Day is over. I love doing all female shows because it makes me be able to identify with, you know, married women and other women of all types. Like I mentioned before, my dildos, I got tired of using them. I just rolled over and looked at it and I just said, you know what, I have a headache tonight. I totally identify with married women about having to sleep with the same men for their entire life. It's crazy. But the one holiday that I hate, and I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for saying this, one holiday that I hate is Mother's Day. Because just because I'm a woman doesn't mean I'm a mother. So I feel like I need to invent my own t-shirt that says, I am not a mother. I may have the body of a woman that had 16 children, but I am not a mother, okay? I may dress like I am some sort of a housewife, okay, with my ripped up leggings and my stupid stained t-shirt and my crazy resting bitch face and my hair that's usually not done, but I am not a mother. Just to fuck with people sometimes. They'll be like, oh, happy Mother's Day. How many children do you have? About 45. And I let them watch their like 45. Like, Jesus Christ, like trying to figure out, Jesus, how big is that? Must be fucking huge. How big is that? Oh shit. Yeah, I'm a bus driver. And then they just kind of, you know, go off on their way and, you know, maybe next time they'll think about asking somebody that. But yeah, I'm a bus driver in my real life and I love children, but I just don't have any of my own. So thank you, ladies, for being a part of this show. We have our last comic coming up. She's very funny. She's very beautiful. She doesn't have any children either. All right? Welcome her to the stage, Miss Sharon Diamond.
Thank you, everybody.
Where's Sharon Diamond on here?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can't see you. Where are you?
I'm here.
I'm looking for you.
I feel like I'm here. I see myself. It's recording, and Abby, do you see me?
There she is. There you are. You're there.
I was here the whole time. You just had to believe in me a little more, like Tinkerbell.
You're there, girl. You're there.
I had to mute myself because I'm in New York City, and it's a combination of fire trucks, people screaming, and an ice cream truck going on. There's nothing more surreal than hearing an ice cream truck on repeat constantly during a pandemic. You know, people are dying, but people are running outside for ice cream. Crazy. I don't mind this. I don't. I'm a Gen Xer. I know there's other Gen Xers here. We like the fact that all we have to do is sit around and get drunk and not go out. Like, this was the 90s. I don't think I ever got out of bed before 2 p.m. the entire decade. Kurt Cobain raised us to be okay with this. And I have friends of all different ages, and I have trouble sometimes with my millennial girlfriends. They don't understand my perspective on something. So let me explain. I'm not anti-Me Too. I'm so pro women's rights and women standing up for ourselves. But the Me Too movement it missed its mark in that I'm still getting dick pics. I'm still getting dick pics. But my nice guy friends have become completely paranoid. And that's what's happened. I'm a married tomboy. My nice guy friends, when they like a girl, now they are terrified to ask them out. So they call me and they ask me to ask girls out for them. Then I get Me Too'd. And I talk about that, and my millennial friends get mad at me, and they're like, how can you say that? I'm like, I'm a Gen Xer. When I told my teacher I was being harassed, she was like, yeah, at least someone wants to touch you. This is what we went through. It was a different world. And then, like, I feel like people are coming up to me. They're like, I'm pansexual. I'm this sexual. If I'm not fucking you, I don't care. In our day, we slept with everybody and just called it Tuesday. Nobody asked. Nobody cared. We're not homophobic. We're not racist. We're not transgender phobic. We just want to party. I feel like we're kind of like the New Jersey of generations. Everyone just wants to shit on us, and we just want to drink Coors Light and go to sleep. And I gotta tell you, this pandemic, you know, it's just starting up. And I'm sorry for saying this, but it might take more boomers because they're a little older, and it might take more millennials because they can't handle anything without a participation trophy. And all that'll be left is us, a bunch of middle-aged douchebags smoking weed, playing video games, still living in our parents' basements. And I honestly, like, there's a point in life where you're like, I'm not going to party and we're going to start working hard and get ready for the world that is. As soon as I got out and ready, you millennials completely changed the world I grew up in. You didn't even leave the fucking solar system by itself. You kicked Pluto out. I love Pluto. Pluto is actually really an undersung planet. So Pluto at numerous times will be closer to the sun than Neptune, but nobody gives a shit. It's like how my sister's a doctor, and every once in a while I make $50 off a video and nobody cares. Pluto's almost like this anomaly that ended up at the Jerry Springer show and had a DNA test, and it was all of a sudden like, so you're not my moon, you're not my sun. What do people have against Pluto? Why? Listen, I saw this documentary on the like universe, and there's one episode that's focused on Pluto, and there was this man that spent his entire life just proving that Pluto is not a planet. Like, if anybody had just fucked that guy. It's like a service to the community, just to keep him in and with us. God. Anyone else having a problem with their parents?
Right here.
Yeah. My dad won't stay in. He's got a girlfriend. She goes and visits her friends. Then he comes back. He's 85. He's on dialysis. He has stents in his heart. He has chronic leukemia. I'm staying inside, and he's going out and partying. I'm like, Dad, you got to stay home. You can't go out. He's like, I didn't say much when you were going out stripping in the 90s. I'm like, Dad, this isn't about me. It's about you. It's about you. So I'm married. I got married older, and I'm a minister. That's one of the things I do that I can't do now. Yay. If any of you want to get married, and there's a guy here, I love that. Thank you so much for being here. There's nothing like, I love, you are so confident in your masculinity that you're like, I am going to go online and listen to a bunch of women talk. By choice. I can't get my husband to watch my set. He's in the other room. My headphones. I don't want to listen to her anymore. I got married later in life. There's things that I'll tell you. There are things that will hinder you from getting married, Lisa. I want to tell you this. One of the worst things you can do for yourself is watch a lot of romantic movies. I find a correlation between women who are really into romantic movies and staying single. It just, I'm sorry to say, real love doesn't work that way. If you are waiting for that real romantic moment that comes in the movies where you're standing out in the rain and the water's pouring down you, but PG-13 pouring down you because it's for women, not for men, so it's not see-through pour, but like, and you're waiting for the hot guy to run in through the rain like, babe, I'm ready. You're good. He's gonna be running to the next one right after he readies you up, and it's the most romantic thing a guy can say to you is, where'd you put the car? And if he really loves you, he'll bring the AAA card with him. Yeah. I gotta go in a second. I've had so much fun with all of you. It's been a real honor to work with all of you, and lovely, and such an honor to do it without putting on a bra or shoes. Anyway, we were talking about alcoholism. This is just one quick funny thing. I actually thought I was an alcoholic because I spend so much time in the nightclubs, and that's what we do. You know, we work and then we get drunk. But as soon as this pandemic hit, I quit drinking for 2 straight months. I did not have one drink. I did my first Zoom comedy show. Someone was funnier than me, and that's it. Right in here. Right in here. That's it. Thank you so much for watching and being here, and be safe, everybody.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the arrow's not moving. Hold on. There we go. Look at me, I figured it out. Thank you so much, Sharon, Simon. Thank you so much, everyone that came to watch. Thank you, all the comedians. Thank you, Amiee Erickson. Thank you, Cara, Amore. Thank you, Meltz. Thank you, Rosanne Sorrentino. Thank you, Olivia London. Thank you, Abby Fennimore. And thank you, Sharon, Simon. I really appreciate it. This has been the Queens of Quarantine comedy show, and I will hope to see you guys. Thank you. Round of applause. Give yourselves a round of applause. Give yourself a double round of applause. You don't have to give anybody a ticket when you walk out the door. But don't walk out the door and get in your car if you've been drinking during the show, because then you will have to give a ticket to the judge. Okay? Stay sober, my friends. Stay safe. I'm your host and fellow comedian, Kristen Tinsley, and thank you for watching. You guys can leave, and I'll be standing here until everybody leaves. So, goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Hi,
Thanks,
you, everybody.
Kristen. Great show.
Welcome.
Great job, everyone. So
Thanks,
proud of you,
everybody.
Kristen.
Thank you. Great
Good
job,
job,
all.
everyone.
great job,
I really
everyone.
appreciate it.
Great